Hello, and welcome to City BOCES Mindfulness-Based Social Emotional Learning video session. My name is Kate Guinea, and I'm here to share with you one of our strategies that we call Pass the Cup. So Pass the Cup really only requires one thing, and that's a cup. The cup we would strongly recommend would be something that won't break if students should drop the cup because they are passing a cup around the room, and it will be filled with water, or depending on your age group, we might fill this with other items. I'll explain that in just a moment. So essentially with this strategy today, Pass the Cup, it is great for students of all ages. You can make many different adaptations for this particular strategy, depending on what students, the grade and the ability of your students. And it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much you get into this activity, how often you might do it. You could certainly do this in less than 5 minutes once it becomes an established routine as a fun social emotional learning activity for kids to engage in. Why do we want students to engage in this activity? We want students to engage in this activity because it will help build a sense of community in the classroom. They're practicing many of their 5 social emotional competencies because they have to rely on their own self-management skills. They have to engage in a task with other students, and they also have to choose responsible behaviors because there could be some silliness with passing a cup around. Silliness can exist everywhere. And so students are practicing all of these social emotional learning competencies with Pass the Cup. So how does this work? Well, the first thing that we're going to do is explain it to students simply. Today, we are going to use teamwork and paying attention to what's happening around us. We will pass a cup filled with water without spilling a drop. The first time that we pass the cup around the circle, our eyes can be open. The second time we pass the cup around the circle, our eyes need to be shut. So we don't want to spill any water, so we're going to have to pay attention and use our teamwork skills to be able to pass this cup of water around our circle. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to fill our cup with water. So one of the things I might recommend that if you have really young students, you might use bottled water and just pass that around to get them used to that activity. Practice passing the bottled water around without talking, because this is a quiet activity because it relies on their communication skills using body language and facial expressions and listening and paying attention to others. You might graduate to not necessarily water first with the young kids, but maybe beans, or you could fill it with rice, marbles, something that if it spills, it's not going to make a huge mess. Water is pretty tame, that if it spills, it's not too bad, but it won't hurt to have some paper towels around because we certainly don't want anybody to slip. So what you'll do is when students pass the cup around, okay, before they start to pass the cup around, you'll want to ask them, what will we have to pay attention to so that we don't spill any water? Have students generate ideas of how we are going to be able to pass this cup around the circle without spilling any water. They might give you suggestions like looking at the cup, making eye contact with their partner or the person that's sitting next to them, maybe feeling with their hands, moving their arms slowly, for example. We don't want to grab the cup quickly because we don't want to spill the water. And then when they're ready, you can begin. So the first time around might be kind of easy because they might go a little slow, but have them go through again and try to do it a little bit quicker. So that's one way that you can make another adaptation, especially for your older students. I'm sure that you could create competitions. I'm thinking at the middle or high school level, where students have to pass the cup in a certain amount of time. I'm sure it would make for a good competition between classes to see who can pass the cup quickest with their eyes open and their eyes closed. So once they have passed the cup around with their eyes open and they've practiced that and they see what they have to notice and they're looking at each other and they're communicating with each other without talking, they're using those teamwork skills throughout this activity. And now they are ready to have their eyes closed. So great. Now let's see if we can pass the cup to each other with our eyes closed. So what types of things will we need to pay attention to if we can't talk or we can't see? Have students generate ideas of what they will do to pass this cup around. Part of what they might be listening for is the sound of clothing rustling, the feeling of the person sitting next to them. Maybe they can hear them moving, maybe they can feel them moving. The feeling of the cup when it's in your hands and carefully bringing it across your body to the person that's sitting next to you. For when you do pass that cup off, you might be feeling the other person's hand to make sure that the cup is steady in the partner's hand, right, before you let go. So these are all things that you want students to generate so that they have an idea of what they're going to be paying attention for during this activity. So, excuse me. So what they will do is they'll just pass the cup around. It can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Great team building activity that works on many of the social emotional competencies, especially self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and responsible behaviors, because as you will probably guess, they might get a little silly passing a cup of water around because they don't want to spill it. So we hope you enjoyed learning about the Pass the Cup strategy today, and we would love to hear from you and how maybe you've applied this strategy to your classroom or your environment. And be sure to send us feedback at SEL@CityBoces, CITIBOCES.org. If you have a strategy that you're like, hey, this would be great, we would love to hear about it, and maybe we can highlight that here on this channel. And again, you can just send that to SEL@CityBoces.org, and we would love to get back to you. Of course, we would love to also share with you our newsletters for more tips and tricks. We have a whole bunch of different newsletters for you to see there. As I pull that up for us, I'd like to just share that with you. So this is our constant contact, and you're welcome to sign up here, okay, using this QR code. If you don't have a QR code reader, you can just check us out down here. Again, there's our email address, SEL@CityBoces.org, and our newsletters. This is how you get to our newsletters. So if you're looking for more tips and tricks to be able to try with your students in your classroom, they're quick, easy to apply to any age group. Just go to cityboces.org, select instructional support services at the top, then school improvement, and then you'll see mindfulness-based social emotional learning and mental health. And there you can find our newsletters with a lot more tips and tricks from Leanne Benedict and myself, Kate. So we are so glad that you joined us today, and we hope that you have a wonderful and healthy day, and can't wait to hear from you. Thank you.